My mission is simple, to make you money. I'm here to level the playing field for all investors. There's always a bull market somewhere, and I promise to help you find it. Mad Money starts now. Hey, I'm Cramer. Welcome to Mad Money. Welcome to Cramerica. I do want to make friends. I'm just trying to make you a little money. My job, not just to entertain, but to educate, teach you. Call me, 1-800-743-CBC. Tweet me at Jim Cramer. Sometimes we get this really important number, and the market just kind of shrugs. And that's what happened today with the December non-farm payroll report, which seemed to come in surprisingly strong, real high. Yet it wasn't market moving. And the Dow will be finished the day gently rising 26 points. S&P advanced 0.18%. NASDAQ even edged up 0.09%. When that happens, we got to go through the agonizing process of trying to figure out if this is new data or something good or bad for stocks. Torturous process that forces you to think about how hard it is to do nothing. Market participants wanted to jump at the chance of the idea that the number was too hot, but it really wasn't. It was consistent, and there was nothing to do about it. Ultimately, common sense can prevail, and that's what we saw when there was nothing special at all. It's just an averted collision, nothing to see here. So investors then moved on to buy some oil companies with a lot of rumors of takeovers there, some pharma stocks. That's that next week JPMorgan conference, and Constellation Brands, the beer, wine, spirits company we have on later in the show. That's fine with me, as I am headed off to San Francisco this weekend for the JPMorgan Healthcare Conference. Now, I think that is going to be market moving one after another, and I intend to give you the scoop on so many of these companies, so please watch. Club members, tons of bulletins on the ones we have, by the way. With that in mind, what's the game plan for next week? Look, forget earnings for a minute. Let's talk about interviews. We hear the phrase jam-packed all the time, but I defy you to be more wall-to-wall than I'm going to be starting Monday. My wife's upset about it. It starts with Walgreens, where I'll sit down with the new CEO, Tim Wentworth, and talk about his strategy to return the luster. This once great institution that cut its dividend this week. Hey, last night, Lisa Gill, the outstanding healthcare analyst from JPMorgan, who hosts the conference, she said this stock could be big for this year, so I cannot wait to sit down with Tim. He's a smart fella. Then I'll have the first ever interview with Chris Bonner. He is the new CEO of Bristol Myers. Talk about his very aggressive year-end biotech takeover spree, among other issues. Chris has got a lot of plans about how to make it so that Bristol Myers grows very well for this decade. And Jeff Martha's up next from Medtronic. We're going to discuss diagnostics and cardio. Then it's time to speak to Bob Bradway. I've spoken to him before, but not on air. He at Amgen, you can talk about everything from cardio and migraine to cancer and GLP-1 weight loss meds in a once-a-month pill form. Of course, these are just top line. We'll go in depth on multiple topics. This is just the stuff that's front and center. I'd love to have him on. He has so much to talk about, including the fact that his stock just hit a 52-week high. We wind up Monday with Teresa Graham. She's CEO of Roche Pharma, with a look at the company that rarely talked about on air. Tuesday's more of the same. I start with David Ricks from Eli Lilly, where, of course, we'll be talking about weight loss, diabetes, revolutionary drug that is Zepbound Mounjaro. But I also want to hear about Lilly's Alzheimer's initiative. Next, there's Albert Bourla, Doc Bourla from Pfizer, who's putting the company's COVID-era profits to work in an aggressive way that has yet to pay off, but we're early. Our first guest ever on Mad Money was Len Schleifer from Regeneron, way back when the stock was at $5. It's now at 913. We got to talk about how that happened, because Regeneron also has a plethora of winners in its pharma stable. Then Vasant Narasimhan comes on. He's done amazing things with Novartis since I spoke to him last at the conference. We're going to find out what's propelling the stock. Then I get to speak to Karen Lynch about how she's managing CVS Health's continued transition from a drugstore to more of a healthcare provider. I think she has a lot of prescient stuff to say about the business. Lots of people don't know a company called Cencora, but that's because it used to be known as AmerisourceBergen, a drug distributor. It's one of the linchpins of our healthcare system, Conshohocken, PA, for you Philadelphians. Then we got to talk to Abbott Labs, why they consider to be one of the best medical device companies on earth. The stock is historically very cheap. You might still be using their COVID tests. You certainly might be using the diabetes devices. Finally, we'll talk to Tom Poland. He's the CEO of Becton Dickinson. That company's stock was hit real hard at the last quarter. Maybe it's a bargain. We also got CES, the giant consumer tech show, next week. I sure wish I could be in both places. CES will be the venue for an NVIDIA speech. I expect CEO Jensen Huang to remind people why the stock rallied so hard last year and continue to do so. I'm looking for more information about NVIDIA's software initiatives, which aren't getting enough credit. Hey, by the way, Michael Dell's giving me a fireside chat at the conference, and I hope he talks about that new Microsoft Copilot button that brings artificial intelligence to you, at least on your PC. Will it ignite a new PC cycle? I think it should. No one paid attention to me when I talked about it this week, though. When we got the non-farm payroll number this morning, initially it was judged to be too hot, as I mentioned. The home builders looked like they were going to get pancaked by higher mortgage rates. But when the smoke cleared, it was pretty obvious that the number was just in line with the last few months, and that took the pressure off the group. How can these stocks remain so strong when interest rates are still much higher than 12 months ago? Why don't we listen to KB Holmes? They were always a very informative fellow who'd speak. They have really good management. They'll continue to tell us a great story, like so many of their compadres. This is a really nice stock. Hey, by the way, it's really funny because a lot of people didn't like. It's just like Pulte, same chart. People just said sell, sell, sell. Totally wrong. Totally wrong. Thursday, we get the white knuckler. That's the consumer price index. When we saw the stronger employment number this morning, it threw cold water on the ultra bullish camp. That believes the Fed could merely give us 5 or 6 rate cuts this year. Those wishful thinkers might be hopeful for a soft CPI number, but I think they'll be disappointed again. I honestly don't know what's wrong with those people. The sooner they leave the building, the faster we'll find a bottom. Look, we have the strongest economy on earth with gradually declining inflation. It makes no sense for the Fed to cut rates right now, or certainly not a half dozen times. Things are humming. What are they going to do? Make it so it overheats again? On Friday, earnings season kicks off with a veritable steeplechase of reports from the big banks. Look at this. We got JPMorgan, Bank of America, Wells Fargo. Okay, JPMorgan's coming in way too hot. And I fear that, and I think it'll be very difficult for them to report the kind of numbers that could send the stock even higher. Bank of America stocks had a nice run, but I think it could go higher. And then Wells Fargo, still nowhere near where it was 5 years ago. A big reason we own it for the Travel Trust. BlackRock reports, too. CEO Larry Fink always gives us a terrific overview of both the financial industry and the world. I find that he has a wealth of knowledge, and he shares it in an informative and provocative way, without politics, but with a desire to tell the truth on a variety of topics. Let's just say that's a rare call among CEOs. We also heard from United Health. Man, that stock's getting crushed. It's been clobbered relentlessly of late, along with the other health insurers. I think anything short of a horrendous quarter will send this stock higher. Finally, Delta Air reports. What can I say? People still want to travel. The airlines are cheap, and so far this year, cheap is attracting a lot of attention. But the bottom line, the new year has started with a redistribution of cash out of the Magnificent Seven. Sell. And onto the sidelines and to a few industrials, a couple of standouts, and most importantly, the healthcare stocks. The latter, no doubt, propelled by what people expect to hear from JPMorgan Healthcare Conference, which, of course, is why I'm flying out there for next week and giving you the skinny on what could this red-hot group do and what would take it to the next level. Let's go to Todd in Rhode Island. Todd.
Jim, booyah.
Booyah, Todd.
Go Eagles.
Well, let's hope so, right?
Yeah. Jim, what's your take on semiconductor TSM? You think it's a buy here?
I think it's okay. The whole semiconductor stock, the group is up way too much. Let these stocks come down, and then you can buy pretty much every one of them. Let this thing go to 17 multiples at 19.5. Look, the group got expensive. It is a great group, and I think it can drift down, and we'll just have to pick. But we can't get excited about a stock that was up 32% in the last year. Let some other people continue to say, hey, I got to buy. That's not my style. The new year started with a redistribution of cash out of the Magnificent Seven, and people making a lot of jokes, they're not so magnificent, whatever. I mean, enough already. And they're going into the industrials and healthcare stocks. So the latter, no doubt, propelled by what people expect to hear from the JPMorgan Healthcare Conference next week. I can't wait to bring you the latest from there. Myself, I have over 3,248 interviews in 2 days. On Mad Money tonight, as I mentioned, that was a joke. As I mentioned, we're headed out to the JPMorgan Healthcare Conference, and I got to tell you, I am excited. It's just that I think I'm going to leave tomorrow at 3 a.m. because I'm worried about the storms. I'm not going to let that happen. We have a lot in tonight's show. Don't forget, we have Constellation Brands, which I think is going to be absolutely terrific. And a lot of people were watching what they were saying in the previous show, okay, by Melissa Lee talking about beer sales. I think beer sales are even better than they realize. You don't want to miss my talk about FICO, which I think has got a terrific story to tell. And you know what? I've got what's new and what's normal, the two words that you need to know. So stay with Cramer.
Don't miss a second of Mad Money. Follow @Jim Cramer on X. Have a question? Tweet Cramer. #MadMentions. Send Jim an email to madmoney@cnbc.com or give us a call at 1-800-743-CNBC. Miss something? Head to madmoney.cnbc.com.